So it seems like it might be a good time to buy Canon lenses. The question is, do you buy an EF or an RF lens? That is the decision that requires some thought, because Canon seems to be signaling that they are going to be, or in the process of, discontinuing many EF lenses. So it becomes a question: is it a time to buy? Is it a time not to buy? Is it a time to wait? Now, this discussion is about Canon lenses because I'm a Canon shooter. I don't really have a lot of knowledge about other camera brands. I know that Nikon has two different lens lines for mirrorless and DSLR. That's the extent of my knowledge. So we're going to only be talking about Canon for this video. Now, there are a few pros and cons to consider. It's not just an open and shut decision on whether you should buy one or the other. By the way, I am in the process of making this decision, or a series of these decisions, for myself right now, and I haven't decided. So I'm going to use this video to talk myself through the options, and by the end of the video, I will come down on where I'm going to land with this decision. So to start this discussion, let's talk about one issue. First, EF lenses are extremely high quality. We're not talking about a quality problem here. EF glass, especially the L lenses which I use, these are darn great lenses. So the decision between EF and RF isn't about quality. The RF may have a few more features, and they've probably enhanced some characteristics on some of the lenses that I've seen. But honestly, for my photography, I don't know that the RF lenses as a whole present a far enough jump in specs or technology to sell one of these guys to get a new one. For where I am, if I don't have a lens, that's one thing. But if I do have a lens, is it a big enough change to sell an upgrade? I haven't seen that. They've added stabilization, though, to some of their RF lenses that the EFs didn't have. So I find that very interesting. And if there's a prime or a zoom that now has stabilization that didn't used to, that would probably be a really good reason to get that piece of glass. So let's talk about a couple of reasons why you would want to keep a couple of pieces of EF glass around. So I can use myself as an example again. As you may know, I also shoot film. I have an EOS 3. That is a wonderful camera that will never take an RF lens. So if I don't have EF glass around, that kind of kills the film photography. On a closely related note, if you plan on having a DSLR around, once again, you cannot bring RF glass down to a DSLR. You can bring EF glass up to an RF. Doesn't work both ways. So if you're going to have a DSLR around, if you're going to have an old film camera around, the only option you have is EF glass. It's not a bad option. The L lenses, like I said, they're darn good lenses. It's not like this is bad glass. Okay, now let's talk about a couple of reasons that you definitely would want to move forward to RF glass. Well, first, if you don't have legacy camera gear and are not concerned with equipment that takes EF, it's a no-brainer. You're moving forward to RF glass. You'll be happy. It's good. It's great stuff. Canon doesn't make bad lenses, in my opinion, and you'll pay the price, but that's the price of keeping up to date with camera technology. It's the ride you're into if you're in the photography game, right? And if you want to move forward with gear, there's a price to pay, but it's also fun. It's good stuff. Man, these new lenses are really awesome. So second, if you have good EF glass, but you have a gap in your lens lineup, and you are committed to moving forward and you're going to upgrade your gear over time, it makes sense to use the RF glass to fill that gap, to buy that new lens, right? Any new lenses that I don't have, or any of my lenses that fail and I have to replace, will be RF. So let's go back to what I started with at the beginning of the video, saying I'm talking myself through this. So I'm in the second category that I just mentioned. I have a lot of good glass that really is fine for my daily use. I have one or two gaps that I'd like to plug with new glass. So that for sure will be RF glass, as I mentioned a second ago. But that also means that new glass I can't use with my film camera. I don't really like that, but Wait a minute, am I talking myself out of this here? I don't know. The bottom line is photography is a technological pursuit. Technology will always move forward. RF lenses are the future. And for new lens purchases, no matter what I may regret for my older cameras, they're rapidly becoming antiques. I have to buy RF glass. So that's where I fall on this. I'm curious to hear where you fall in this spectrum and what your decision-making process would be. I'm sure it might be a spirited discussion. New equipment purchases usually are. So leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you are buying new glass. If you have recently bought new glass, I'd love to hear your reactions to it. Until the next video, cheers.